This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
And welcome, everybody. As you see, we've got Naya. Hey, Naya.
Hi.
She's chilling out in her nice Texas home. And this video will be a special video. This is all questions from viewers. And we got a lot of them. You ready, Naya?
Ready.
All right. And this one also, I know that so much depends on timelines and a lot of ins and outs, but most of these people are asking for the timeline we're currently on, so we can kind of focus on that. Unless you just see, alternate outcomes. So the first question, right here's the first question. This is from Victoria from Australia. And let's see.
Hi, Victoria. Know her well.
Yeah, I like Victoria. Actually, I lost that question.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Okay, we'll do Cindy Fitzgerald. You like,
Again?
Cindy. Yeah, you like Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy's cool. We'll get back to Victoria. I promise it's in here somewhere. All right, Victoria says, I don't know where
Victoria
to begin.
Or Cindy?
Huh?
Are we Cindy or Victoria?
This is Cindy Fitzgerald right here.
Okay.
Okay, right? Because I know you want to focus on each person. All right, so this is Cindy from Michigan. She says, I don't know where to begin. So if we can ask personal questions, will I ever get rid of the amnesia before I die? I'm a starseed and I want to know what my whole purpose for coming here and exactly where did I come from and what am I when I'm in my true form on the other side.
Cindy, you're from a gold place. Lots of gold there. Gold and green. Gold and green. Not very physical. More energy than physical. And that's where you'll go back to. I think you guys need to stop asking to lose the amnesia. Go with your gut instincts. Your life will give you the knowledge when the time is right. So stop fighting for things that are not going to come at the wrong time. I've told you guys over and over again, you don't want this all dumped on you like I did. It makes your life so much more difficult. You think it's going to be easy to know the answers and that everything will come easier, but it doesn't. It just makes it more annoying. So your life has been designed by you, laid out in a certain way for a reason. Things will come back to you as you had set them up to be, and there's a reason for that. Trust it. Trust yourself. If you try to remember something before the time is right, it will backfire on you hardcore. So don't do that. Go with the flow. Remember what you remember. Be at peace with that. Live in the now. You already know so much. What more is there to know? Especially you, Cindy. You already know so much. What more do you need? You already know how life works. You know where you're from. You're not from the game. Well, the rest of it doesn't matter. You know law of attraction. You already know all this. The rest of it is just the game. And so if you get involved in what you're so involved in the game and where you've been taught that you need to know all the answers in order to play the game well, that you don't understand that that's a part of the game. And outside the game, we don't operate like that. Outside of the game, we are in now time and we do everything instinctually. We don't think about it. We don't plan about it. We don't learn about it. We just are. And you need to learn to trust to just be. There are wise people that have been telling you people this for a very long time. And I'm just going to say it again, just relax and just be. You're trying too hard. Everyone's trying too hard, including me. Just relax and just be. You know what you're doing. You don't have to try. You will be at the right place at the right time. You cannot screw it up. I promise you. There's nothing that you can do to get this done better. You will do it because it was pre-planned to be done that way. The difference between that predestination of you will be where you're supposed to be, you will do what you were meant to do, the difference in ease, that's what's not predestined. It is predestined what you will do in this life. I guarantee you that you cannot get out of it. The thing that is not predestined is how you do it, whether you do it with a smile or a frown. That's your choice. So relax, smile, don't worry so much. Have a great day. I love you.
All right, good. All right, Cindy asks another question, same person, Cindy Fitzgerald. For those of us who are starseeds, when we die, will we meet up with dead family members in this life, or do we go right back to where we came from immediately?
You go right back to where you came from.
Okay.
Right back. That's quick and easy.
Yep.
Now, the advantage to this is the answer is both. Because when you leave this game and go right back where you came from, you go into now time and you will immediately hook up with all the people that you loved here because now you're in now time outside the game. So you do both.
Okay.
But you probably won't hook up with anybody that you loved here.
All right, so here is Victoria.
You could, but you probably won't.
Okay, so this one is Victoria from Australia.
Okay.
I've always had a question. I remember Naya in an earlier video where she said she was happy zipping around dimensions, but had this thought to herself, oh, I remember that place, Earth. I think I'll go back and check on it, and then boom, there you were. So does this really mean that Naya and everyone else really doesn't have control over coming back again? Could this be possible? Does this really mean because we can really lose memory of how it is to be human because we no longer experience it over there? And could it really also mean that the whole picture had been kept from her when she was over there? That all there is made the decision, is that all there is that made the decision for her? That now back
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me clarify what she was talking about. What I said was when I left the game and I was zipping around over in now time checking out everything that's over there, I was looking at another game completely different game. It wasn't a dimension, it was outside of the game. There aren't dimensions in now time. There isn't dimensions because there's no such thing as layers. And that's really hard to explain to linear time thinkers, but it was another game altogether. And I remember thinking at the time when I was looking at that, oh, I should try that on Earth. That's what I said. I should try that on Earth. The second I thought of that, because I was in now time, there's an immediate cause and effect. So whatever you create in now time, when you instantly consider it, just even consider it in now time, it happens. It happens instantly. You have instant manifestation of whatever it is you consider in now time. So that's what actually happened, is that there was no delay. And I had gone from body to out of body to way the fuck out there so fast that I was still thinking linear timely. So I was not ready I hadn't thought of anything up to that point. I had not considered anything. I was just watching, and all I was saying to myself, I remember thinking, what else? What else? What else? More, what else? What else? What else? That's the only thing that was in my head. I didn't think, oh, look at all the love or all the pretty lights or where's my grandmother. All I kept thinking was more. What else? What else? More. That's all. And that's why I kept going so fast, because I was in now time. So I was responding to my call as a creator God. The first time that I changed that thought was when I saw that game and thought, I should go back to that Earth place and do this. Instantly, I woke up in the hospital because I went from now time, where it's an instant creation, and I'm a God. Whatever I say goes. And her big fear is, am I going to get out on the other side And am I going to forget the hell that is here? And am I going to get stuck back here? That's her big fear. No, you're not going to. And the reason why you're not going to is because you would never consider it again, because your life here becomes so tiny. And I've said this in another video, there's a movie named Contact. And in there, she said, if you could understand how tiny, tiny you are, but how very, very important you are, you would understand things better. And that's the truth. The truth is that you are tiny on this planet, and this life is a speck of a speck of a speck, but it changes everything. But when you leave it, although you can access it at any time, it's just a teeny tiny speck of who you are, of your experience. So you would have to really look for it to come back here. And the only reason I came back is I had just left. I hadn't even left my body yet. I just kind of floated above it. That's the reason why I came back. But when you leave for good and your body's dead here, no, it would be, you have to know where this place is. You can't just, the other side in now time is so big. I don't have words. There is nothing in human understanding that I could say to you that make you understand how big outside this game is. I just can't. I don't know how to explain it to you. I've tried, but I don't think anybody's got a clue how big it is. So you really have to know where this tiny dot of a game is to get back in. And you, Victoria, you, Cindy, you, Starseeds that I've talked to, you would never do it. You would never look on the layers and the levels that are required to find it. You'll never do it again. The only reason you found it to begin with is your friend is Gaia, and she called you. That's the only reason any of us got here, because we would never be able to find it. We don't operate this low. None of us, none of the starseeds. So, but Gaia came here first. She called. It was like a beacon of light, and then we followed the beacon in. You got to have something to follow and find this place. It is very obscure in the now.
Okay.
So stop worrying. You're not going to get stuck back here again.
Okay. All right, Joyce Anderson.
Okay.
I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Did you turn the speakers up?
Nope, didn't touch them.
All right, Joyce.
You want me to do something?
Can you turn the volume down just a little bit?
Yes, I know where it is now. Okay, try that.
Testing.
Say something.
Can you hear me okay?
No. Okay, say something.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Joyce Anderson, she asks, will this generation see cures for cancer, blindness, and ALS?
No, they will not, because they will learn and they will teach others how to cure it themselves. There is no need to cure anything anymore. The prisms will cure themselves. They'll stop doing, really, it's more accurate to say they don't create the illnesses at all to begin with. Every disease that's on this planet was created by the person who has it. It's that simple. And the prisms don't create them. So there is no reason for a cure when there are no diseases. They don't create the diseases because they don't have all the stress and they don't buy into all the bullshit. So most people nowadays, you look at your genetics, and that's really big. And then you worry about whether or not you're going to get cancer, or you're going to get high blood pressure, or you're going to get diabetes, because every member of your family has had it. So therefore, you create it. Well, the cure is simple. Stop worrying about whether or not you're going to get it. I can cure it all for you. There is no reason to develop a cure. I can cure it all for you. Stop doing that. You have a body that completely replaces every part of it every 7 years. Does it make any sense that there should be anything wrong with it? It should be ageless and it should be illness proof. But what happens is you filled it full of toxins so many years, and you've sent out the belief or the fear that you're going to get something and then you get stuff. So stop doing that and everything will be fine.
Okay. All right. Debbie Ryder. I think that's how you say her last name. You know her?
Comments.
Okay. She says, in religion, there is one sin that was not forgiving. That's blasphemy against the Holy Ghost. She says, who or what exactly is the Holy Ghost?
Well, the Holy Ghost was created by humans, and it's mostly a part of the Godhead. So the Holy Ghost was kind of running around up there with the Jesus and the Jehovah thing, but I didn't really talk to the Holy Ghost because it was more an energy part of the monotheistic religious creation, and it was flitting around entirely too much, and I didn't want to bother with it. Mostly, it's just the energy aspect of the Trinity that was created by mankind. So you had Jesus, the Son, who is actually the physical aspect of God. Then there was Jehovah God, that's all powerful and mega God. And then the Holy Ghost kind of is the spirit version. And the three of those go together to create the basic Christian God. But out in the fourth dimension, really, really high, I would say probably the Holy Ghost is the highest of the three. Probably Jesus is the lowest, then Jehovah God, and then the Holy Ghost. But they all three are very tied together in that monotheistic religion. And yeah, you're not going to, nothing's going to happen to you if you like blaspheme the Holy Ghost. So I blaspheme the Holy Ghost. I'm not scared of it.
Oh
so,
my God.
Fuck you, Jehovah God, Holy Ghost. Yeah, let's see. That's not going to bother me at all.
But Naya,
and I've been dead, so there.
Little kids watch this video.
No. Mark the not for kids box.
Okay, this is very.
They've got a new box on the new videos. Mark it not for kids.
Okay, this is adult version here.
Yes, this is adult. My videos are for adults. Now the kids will watch them anyway, but I think they've heard worse.
Yeah.
Than what I'll ever say.
Okay, so Amar, I think that's how you say his name, asks, there's a bunch of questions, but here's the first question. If I remember correctly, you visited Washington, D.C. a year ago. I'm curious to know, how did it feel energetically to you? The people, the nature, urban areas, etc. Did you feel any 4D or 5D energies, or was it just 3D?
The first time I went, I couldn't even get into Washington, D.C., and that was 2 years ago now?
No, it was last
year. 2.5?
With Jeremy, it was last year.
No, the first time. The first time when I went up to
that was 2 years ago.
Genie.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
I think that was 2.5 years ago. I rode a bus by along the coast, and I think I was about an hour and a half from Washington, D.C., and I was asleep, and I woke up in the bus, and I started shaking, and I was shaking so bad, I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I asked somebody where we were, and then I looked it up on the phone, and we were even. I was even with Washington, D.C., and I guarantee you I would not have gone any closer than what I was. I was so shook up. Now, a year later, I was in Washington, D.C., and that was with you when I left you.
Yeah.
And Washington, D.C. had completely changed, and I was walking around all over the place, and it had been it was so different energetically than it had been the year before. And I would suspect by the time I get back, it's going to be even more different. It is still very low vibration. The first time would have put it, if I was shaking that bad, it would have been very, very low 3D, primarily. When I went back, I'd been with G-Man for a while, and I was very tired, very, very exhausted. So I would have been able to match I would suspect it was probably at a high 3D, low 4D level. Right now, Jonathan lives there, and I interact with Jonathan all the time. And he is my direct link into Washington, D.C. He's been there for years. And right now it is in uproar. I would say it bounces and bounces hard. It bounces from low. It is probably one of the few places left on the planet that will actually bounce into 3D, even though we're in 4D. But that city will bounce into 3D. It comes out, but it'll bounce hard. And it will bounce. I don't think it'll be one of the last places that goes to 5D, but it does sustain in low 4D most of the time right now. Still not a fun place to be up and hang out there for long. I need Jonathan to get out before it kills him.
And Daryl too. He's pretty close.
Yeah, Daryl. At least Daryl's outside of the city. Mm-hmm. But I think that's why Daryl's sick, is because he's too close. He's been too close to what. But both of them have done incredible work there. So they were meant to be there, and thank goodness they were. They took the brunt of what we needed to happen there. I think it cost Daryl a little more. He's been doing it. He's older, but Jonathan, I mean, he's like what, a block and a half from that big park in the middle of Washington, D.C. itself. I mean, he's in the thick of it. Don't see how the only thing that worked on him is that he has been invisible because he's kind of an indigo. So he's become invisible to those people. They don't even notice him, which is the only way he survived. But he's bouncing so hard, so fast. We were just talking today, and I said, man, your vibes are awful chaotic. So that's one of the reasons I need to get out of here. I need to go pick him up.
Okay.
To get him out of there. You could visit there, but I would not want to stay there for any length of time.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm moving, but hold on, guys. All right, sorry about that.
Need a cigarette?
Get a cigarette.
Go ahead and get a cigarette.
Okay, am I centered? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, next.
You need a cigarette? Or you got one? Okay.
Got one.
All right, here's an interesting question. I like this one. When I look at the animals, they seem better suited and equipped to living in 3D, 4D Earth than humans. Is this because humans were created in different dimensions and on different planets, and being in these fragile and limited bodies helps humans experience 3D?
The reason why plants and animals live here and they do well is because they live in the now. They don't live in linear time. They don't have watches. They think seasonal at best. Most of the time, they're very concerned about what's going on right now. That's how they do it so well. They don't think about whether or not they're in 3D, 4D, 5D, or they don't care. All they are is living in the now. That's how they do it. And that's how you should do it. You should follow their lead. Humans, all of this around you was created so the human being could play on this planet, and humans created the third dimension. They're the ones that did it all. And that was the point. That was to go to the third dimension on this planet, and they did it. So congrats, well done.
Okay.
That answer the question?
Yeah. This is still Amar. What do moons do in general? Oh, it's kind of a two-parter. What's the function and purpose of the moon around Earth? I heard some describe it as gecko technology.
The moon itself was not originally from this planet, nor was it on this planet. It was it carried around, it's a spaceship is what it was. And it carried around, it seeded life onto planets is what it did. That's what she did. She was a living spaceship that was full of all of this genetic material, and it traveled around all over the universes, and it would seed planets with different kinds of life. That's what it did. And the geckos grabbed it and sabotaged it and destroyed it and now the moon is a shell. It's kind of like a skeleton of what the moon originally was, and that's what's left. And the skeleton, which is really the dead moon, is what the geckos use. And they kind of stole the spaceship, destroyed everything, put it surrounding the Earth so that they could control things like tides and weather and all kinds of things that helped us get to 3D.
Okay.
What do other moons do around other planets? All kinds of different things.
Okay. Show me what I need to know. Ask this question. I took a big risk trying to break free from corporate America, and I quit my job over 2 years ago. I've been trying to produce an income for myself by day trading. Will I be successful? I do not want to go back to corporate America under any circumstance.
I hate these questions. No. You haven't broke away from corporate America if you're day trading. That is corporate America. You're still messing with corporate America. That's not leaving corporate America. That's just using corporate America in a different way. That's all.
I think what he means, though, is
different.
he's not working for a boss man. I think what he means is he's not working for a boss man or a company. He's doing it himself, and he just wants to be successful doing it himself and not have to work for the man.
Right. And see, that's the difference. The difference is, from my perspective, I deal with energy, not logistics, not words. So I guarantee you, I assure you that if you're day trading, you are still directly, just as much as being in an office, connected to the energy of corporate America. You have not left it at all. You might as well go into the office and get paid as a regular paycheck. There is no difference. No difference at all. None. The only difference is that in your mind, you're more free because you're the boss instead of somebody else being the boss. But energetically, you're in the same boat. So if that's the only way that you can make a living, go back to your job and go into the office. You have not cut yourself off from any of the gecko corporate energy that is low by day trading. You've not done it at all. There needs to be a completely different form of income, completely different. It cannot be tied to them at all. Day trading is you're directly supporting, counting on, calling for, interacting with a system that is run by a handful of men in a room that are arbitrarily deciding what's going on, and you're living in fear nonstop. This is pure gecko land here, dude. Pure gecko land. You cannot get away from the energy of gecko by day trading, period. End of story. Now, the exception to that is if you want to play with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is completely outside of their reign. That's why they want to destroy it. If you want to play the Bitcoin game, which I know someone who's been very successful at that, and it can be done, and she's very good at it. She's been doing it quite a while now. And you can totally play that same game with Bitcoin and make some good money, but they're not directly connected to the geckos. Now, the original Bitcoin is, but the rest of them are not. So really cryptocurrencies is the better word, because Bitcoin has been eaten by the geckos. But the rest of the crypto coins, they really are outside of the geckos. That's what pisses the geckos off so much. So you could play with that, but if you're in pure regular day trading, yeah, you're still directly connected to the geckos. You might as well have an office job. It's the same thing, same exact thing, energetically.
What is your take on the stock market and what you see it happening in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's hilarious. I think it's gambling, is what it is. It's legitimized gambling is what it is, because like I said, there's a bunch of old white guys in a room that are deciding the prices of everything based on whatever it is they want. and you're guessing on whether or not what they're going to do. So it's straight up gambling. I think you would be better off taking your money to the casino and playing blackjack if you're good at it. I think you'd have better luck there than you do with the stock market. I think it's all a game and it's all a ploy, and you've got to be one of them to win, and they tell you how to win. And if you're not one of them, you aren't going to win. Everybody else that plays, you feed their pocketbook. That's just the way it is.
Okay. Linda Young asks another question. Or I don't know if we read Linda Young yet. So here's Linda Young. What took place on the timeline where Michael Jackson didn't die? Did Hillary become president? Did we end up in World War III?
Oh my God. There's so many timelines. Here, this will be easier. There are many, many timelines with World War III. There are many, many timelines where Hillary Clinton won. There are very few timelines where Michael Jackson lived much longer. He was not meant to live much longer. So, yeah, there's that.
Okay.
God, are they going to block us because we said Michael Jackson's name?
Maybe.
You may have to bleep that or something.
Well, if it gets banned, I'll just have to re-edit it and upload it like the other one did.
All right.
All right. Show me what I need to know. Ask another question. And this got a lot of likes, so this is a really good question.
Okay.
I'd like to know how Naya maintains a meditative state throughout the day. I think she said she was going to do a video on that, but she may not have gotten around to it yet.
I did not. I have not. So, yeah, that's good. Okay. Short answer is the same way you breathe. That's the short answer. Is the same way that you breathe in and out every day. If you stop and think about breathing, it's hard work. I mean, it really is. You stop, think about it, you're going, I mean, you think about all the body parts that are moving in and out and in and out. It's hard to think about breathing all the time. But most of the time you don't even think about it, you just breathe. Well, that's how I'm in a meditative state as I'm talking to you now. It's I've just gotten really, 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 really good at it from practicing a lot. And I just like it so much that it's really not a matter of, am I ever out of a meditative state? I'm always in a meditative state. The question is, how much of me is in a meditative state? So, depending upon what I'm doing at any given time, they'll say, like right now, I'm about 45%. Meditative state 55, talking to you because I'm connecting to the other side. And if I'm driving, I can go up to 95% meditative state because I don't need much to drive. So it goes back and forth, just like you are breathing. You don't have to think about breathing. So I've created this, from a nursing perspective, this automatic ability to, just like you breathe, I go into a meditative state without thinking about it. And I maintain it all the time because it's the only way I can stay here because this place drives me insane. So I think what happened is I went back and forth so much that I would go all the way over and all the way back and all the way over and all the way back and over, back and forth. And I did it faster and faster and faster until I kind of closed the gap. And I realized that I didn't have to go back and forth because I did it so fast and so many times that I figured out that I could simply just close the time, and I just collapsed linear time space and made it now time. So there's the answer. Is in the meditative state, I'm in now time. And when I'm in my day to day, I'm in linear time, and I can keep those two things together at the same time. Because now time fits into linear time. Linear time doesn't fit into now time, really. It has to be collapsed. But I can keep my meditative state, which is a kind of an energy state, and I can keep that in now time, and still my physical self can be in linear time. And that's how I collapsed them to be together, so I can always be in a meditative state. And that brings me, it makes it so I can live here. I don't stress anymore. I still get animated and excited. I still get angry, but I don't feed the law of attraction anymore, which makes it hard for me to get stuff back, but that's okay. I would rather not get anything other than what I have right now than risk getting bad stuff. That's probably not the best thing to do, but my energy is so strong that if I flare and send a message that's negative to the law of attraction, what comes back hard, and it comes back fast, and it is dangerous because my energy is so strong. So I just keep it very low key. And I really don't care about any of the stuff that's here. So it doesn't really matter to me. So I'm okay with that. Okay. So I pretty much put a lid on the physicality and spend more time in the meditative now. That's where most of my energy is. So if you hung around me for a day, you'd think, well, some days you would think I was the laziest person on the planet. Other days you'd wonder how I don't stop. And I bounce pretty much back and forth from those two things. I'm either laying down, not doing anything, or I'm moving at 100 miles an hour. I don't have any, like I said, I have 5 basic emotions. I have 2 speeds. I'm not good at this human body stuff. It's really hard to run this human body, guys, and I'm not good at it. So I either go one or the other. Yeah, it's pretty easy. But that's how I do that. Did that answer that question?
I guess so. So, when I was around you, you were like 100 miles an hour most of the time, and then you'd burn out after about 3 days or so, and you'd have a day of rest. Then you'd go back to your 100 miles an hour. I don't know how you did it, really, but all right. So, Mike,
yeah, I don't know how I do it either. So
you got a lot of energy, that's for sure. All right, Mike Bullock. He asked this question.
My big fan, Dennis. That's who that is.
Why does it say Mike?
I don't know. That's what people do on YouTube channels.
All right, so here's Dennis.
My big fan, Dennis.
All right, here's Dennis. Is this life really important from the other side's point of view? And if we made some mistakes with other people, do we have to pay for them? We have to pay them in some way. And does God want anything from us?
You are God. There is no separate God wanting anything from you. Unless you believe in Jehovah God, and then he wants everything. So, but the other, is this life important? Yes and no. Important from a human perspective where they think it's, no. Is it important because everything's important? Yes, it's important because everything's important. Every experience is valid. Every experience is interesting. You'll find it interesting. Other people find it interesting. Yeah, but it's not important as in, oh my gosh. And no, I've tried to explain this to you people. You guys understand that you live in a game of contrast where everything's been divided into light and dark, good and bad. There must be bad people for good people to exist. There must be good people for bad people to exist. Both players are required in this game. There are times in your life where you are the good guy. There are times in your life you are the bad guy. So what? Think of it like a movie. Some movies you played the good guy, some movies you played the bad guy, some situations you were the good guy, some the bad. When that character leaves and you meet him on the street and he was the biggest villain in the latest top movie, you don't shoot him, you don't arrest him and throw him in jail. He was just playing a role. It's no big deal. No, there's no God on the other side that's going to shoot you, nor is anybody that was here going to care. You were playing a role. That's all. No big deal. You can't do it wrong. You played what you intended to play every single time. I have been, and I could easily say that, I've had the worst life of anybody I know. I've had horrible people do horrible things to me that I did not ask for. Well, on a bigger picture, I agreed to it. But from a human perspective, I'm not angry at any of them. Not any of them. Not my father, not my husband's, Not the guys that raped me throughout the years. Not one of them. I don't care. Friends that screwed me over. I don't care. I know exactly why it was all done. Exactly. All they did, I sent a message to the law of attraction. Law of attraction asked for volunteers for energy that I called. Now, I didn't know that I was creating bad things, but it doesn't matter. I still created them. And all they were volunteers playing the role of the bad guy. That's it. It was my call, not theirs. They volunteered. No reason to be upset about anything you did bad. Period. Don't worry about it. Nobody cares outside this game. Nobody.
I think that was a real gem where you talked about the actor. It would be like seeing, Hugh Grant down the street and be all pissed off at him for what he did in the last movie. And it's like, hey, that was just a role I played. And that's all this life is a role we play.
Exactly. Exactly.
This question is from Bridget Campbell. Can Naya say more about what she felt when she went to the Abraham Hicks session last year? I think she said they were from a part of 4D where she didn't expect to find them. I would love to hear more about that.
Esther was a human, which I did not expect at all. And the Abraham group that she talks to are in a pretty high 4D. Is who she's talking to, which explains why they have so much correct information, but it really relates more to physicality, human physicality, than I would be interested in. Everybody there but me and Sandy and one other lady, and we all were sitting together. Every single person there was human or long-term human in the audience. So it was boring. They all had the same question. Everything that you see on YouTube is exactly the way it was. It was, she'd come out, she'd talk for a little bit, then she'd open to questions. People would get up there and ask the same questions over and over again. Love of my life, I need to make more money. My life sucks. I have a horrible past. Same thing. It's the same exact thing you see on YouTube. Boring, boring, boring. Yeah, I was shocked. Got nothing out of it whatsoever. I was disappointed. I mean, I'm very grateful that I got to experience it and I got to figure that out. But yeah, I was bored, I think, within an hour, ready to go.
Okay. Linda Young asked another question. When I was 3 or so, I heard that Hitler and Eva Braun did not die in the bunker. My question is Hillary Clinton possibly their daughter or Andrea Merkel, or did they produce any children or grandchildren?
Well, in the first place, I can't find a timeline where they didn't die. Okay, what else can I look at?
There were rumors that they escaped and went down to Argentina. You don't see none of that?
Everything I can see, they're dead. I'd need something else. What else can I follow to find live ones? Let me go the other direction. Let me go from Hillary Clinton backwards.
All right.
Oh no, Hillary Clinton has nothing to do with them. Anywhere. Interesting history, but nothing to do with them. Look, these guys, these geckos, they've been in shape for a long time. It's very complicated. There's a lot of cloning involved and a lot of blood work. Not what people think, but there's a lot of genetics been used for a long time to get what they want. There is a reason it's called the top 1%. Those people have been doing this for a very, very long time. But you guys would be surprised whenever you find out who's really running the show. You'll be shocked. But we'll go into that. You'll find that out later.
All right.
On your own.
This question.
But no, I can't see anything where anybody was alive unless there's either one of them was alive, every single one, and I can see a lot. I'm looking, and I asked specifically for Hitler alive. Hers is a little bit murkier. His is easy. I can't. His is really, really strong. I don't think that he could have lived much longer. It is really, really hard to live with that many people hating you. If you've walked into a room where people are mad at you and how draining that is, and that's just one room. Hitler had, by the end of the war, he had, billions of people that hated him. I mean, truly, truly despised him and wanted him dead. I don't see how there's any way he could have survived that because the energy drain would have been too severe. Now, in her case, there is a possibility that she escaped and went somewhere under another name, but she was not pregnant. She might be under another name, and I lost her trying to search her under the name you gave me, Eva Braun,
right?
Whatever her name is. Because I can see her with Hitler, but then I lose her and it goes foggy. So there is a possibility that she made it out, but she would have changed names, at which point I wouldn't know what that was. So, but him, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. Even if he was changed his name, he was so well known. I don't see how he could have lived anywhere without being caught. And physically, I don't think his physical body would have made it. Too much hate. I don't think he could have.
Okay, well, that makes sense. All right, this question I really liked myself. And this is from Show Me What I Need to Know. The more I realize this is all a game, the less interested in the game I get. Also, the less people can relate to me and the less I can relate to them. Although I understand their perspective, I used to be there. Everyone is just telling themselves stories in their head with imperfect and limited knowledge, thinking they are all in possession of the truth and believing that they know how the world should work. Whereas I try to accept what is, don't expect perfection, and I realize I don't know anything. Don't get me wrong. I can still see God in everything, and that part is beautiful, but the game is boring, and I feel detached from it. Nothing seems to matter. And furthermore, humans are not reliable, and they are not interested in cooperation and harmony with each other. I don't judge the people around me who are asleep. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, quote, wrong with anything. But it's a little lonely feeling like I'm the one of the few that can see the insanity. Sorry if this sounds negative. That wasn't my intent. I'm just trying to explain my detachment from it all. Any tips for enjoying the game more while I'm stuck here? Or should I be ignoring all this and be focusing on 5D? 5D seems a little too unreal to me. Not sure why. Not sure I'm going to make it. Thanks, Naya.
Whatever you focus on, you create more of. So with that understanding, you don't like the game, it's boring, I get it. Humans are unreliable. I will add to that, they are the most dangerous beings on this planet, bar none. Unreliable, that's an understatement of the century. They don't want to get out of the game. They're playing the game for a reason. You try to break them out, they're going to get pissed off. The game is set for it to be full of contrast. Therefore, it's not meant to be peace, love, and harmony. It was never meant to be the fluffy, fuzzy place to come and vacation. This is not what this place is built for. Okay, so I agree with everything you said up to the point of the 5D experience. Even though the 5D experience feels outside of what you feel is believable, which is better? Do you want to give your energy to a game that you don't like at all and feed it, keep it going, make it stronger? Or do you want to give your energy to something that might be some magical place that someday, which do you want to add your energy to? You choose. Doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't care. I know where mine's going. You have to choose. But if you're going to send your energy to 4D, don't complain because you're in it. If you stand any chance at all to get to 5D, you've got to start sending energy to it. Doesn't matter to me which one you do.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Let's see here. Linda Young asked another question. In the Civil War, where the South won, in that timeline, did Obama become president?
No. None of the presidents we've had since the Civil War were the same presidents. They were all different.
And when
on all those timelines. You wouldn't know any of the people that were president at all. I could give you names, but it'd be irrelevant. Some of them aren't, well, most of them aren't alive now, and you wouldn't know them anyway. These were completely different timelines, completely different. Everything was different. Everything was different. So, no, of course not. Obama didn't. Nobody did. Those are all different.
How did the South fare in Texas and all that? The timelines where they won the war. Did the Confederate States of America become very prosperous?
No, really. Most of the timelines where the South won, and I'm a northerner here, but I think they did kind of a better job of smoothing things out and kind of, there is no timeline where the South won where the slaves were not freed. The slaves were freed, period, end of story. Had nothing to do with that. It was all about trade and money, and the North wanted all of the trade and money, wanted to control it all, and the South was getting too much, and that's where that all came from. It didn't have anything to do with slaves. That was a completely different issue. The North used it to win the war, but it really was not what was important. That's not what it was about. It was about money. It's always about, wars are always about money. If they tell you anything else, it's a lie. It's always about money. So when the South won, they had more land mass than the North did. So they were much smarter in what they did whenever the country came back together. They were better at keeping the North happy, but kind of everything kind of went throughout the whole country. So instead of everything kind of going, the North kind of went west with all of the, the Detroit and Chicago and all the big money went west on the North side. When the South won, it kind of covered the whole country. So instead of places like Kentucky and Tennessee and all those places that are pretty much vacant for the most part in the South going across, those were the industry kind of peppered throughout the whole United States. Instead of being up in the North, it was everywhere. And there was a lot more industry, it was a lot more spread out. Cities aren't near as big when the South wins. The cities, there's a lot more of them, but they're not nearly as big. A lot more family values when the South won, I would say. It was less about money and more about family. So there was a deep respect. The South is very good at deep respect. They have respect for things, and the North doesn't. It's about power and money with the North. And so when the South won, there was this clinging to of respect of family. So there was a great deal of mourning for a brother that killed brother. So instead of blowing that off and kind of moving past it like nothing happened, which is kind of what happened when the North won, when the South won, that was given a great deal of time and energy, and there was a lot of healing done between the families. So when the South won, there were not years later, there are not flags from the north that they're flying and they're pissed off at the south. It didn't happen like that. There was the country became one. Whereas when the north, there's always been a fight between the north and the south since the north won. And that's because they weren't as good at healing the country after the war. So because of that, there has been a scar that has been there since. Well, most of the timelines where the South won, though, did not go as deep into 3D. It was that anger and that fueled the United States becoming so powerful and becoming a police state that put the whole world in fear. The United States has put the world in fear. And that fear is what drove people into the third dimension. Most of the timelines where the South won, they didn't make it very far into the third dimension at all. They just couldn't get there because there wasn't the anger and the fear involved. You see.
Okay. This question comes from me because I just thought of it. In timelines where Trump does get impeached, will it be bad for America? Will Pence be a good president, or will he be impeached along with Trump? What do you see the outcome?
There is nowhere where he gets impeached too, and very bad for America. Very, very, very bad. But there aren't very many timelines where that happens, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay, that's good to know.
I won't be there, so it won't matter to me.
All right. So this is for Victoria. She doesn't ask this, but a lot of her comments on my videos, she'll talk about how she is really dealing with a lot, and especially like the last year, a lot of problems with government and her health and just on and on. And like she goes around like a headless chicken, and she is having a hard time, and her vertigo is real bad too. What would you say to her to help her relax, meditate, get healthy? Any kind of advice for Victoria from Australia?
Well, she's on a country that is really a difficult country to live on, because Australia it has always been that's where the geckos live, underground under Australia. That's the reason why Australia is pretty much a desolate country, except around the edges, is because the geckos have huge underground, or had underground complexes and city after city underneath Australia. That's been their home base forever. And that's why the Aboriginals are there, or I call them originals because they're not anything. They're original peoples, and they're the only people that really live out there in that desolate areas, because they counter the vibrations of the geckos down below, and they've kept that country from falling into a billion pieces. But if you live in Australia at all, it is a difficult place to live. Right now there is a lot of energy moving on this planet. The two sides are, I've told you guys over 2 years that the two sides are separating more and more and more. Right now, the two sides are very, very far apart. So if you are still bouncing into those lower vibrations of even worry, you're going to feel it, and it is going to feel bad, very bad, because there's a big gap now. You can't go from you can't reach really despair, maybe a touch of fear and worry, but that's about how far you can go right now on this planet. And so your happiness over here and your fear or your worry over here, there's a big gap between those. So if you try bouncing between those lower energies and higher energies, you're going to feel it, and it's going to be painful. And the more you do that, the more painful it will be, until, if you don't stop it, you'll have to choose a side. If you choose low, you'll feel better. If you choose high, you'll feel better. It's the bouncing back and forth that is killing you. So you need to choose a side and stay there. Pretty soon you won't be able to jump that chasm anymore. And the differences are getting very, very wide now. And the energies are collapsing to make that more and more impossible to jump that gap. So what people are used to, they're used to being happy and then sad, happy and then sad. So they're trying to do what they've always done, and it's more and more painful, more and more difficult than it's ever been. And the reason why is because those energy lines are collapsing. So you can't do it easily. So instead of there being a direct route between happy and sad, now you've got to go here and over there and over here and over there and over here to get there, because there's not a direct line anymore. It's all been collapsed. So you got to go find a new route, and it takes forever to get there. So you've got to learn to let go of the lower energies. You got to just don't care anymore. Now, how do you don't care? You practice, and you pay attention to what you're feeling at all times. I don't care. If you want out of this game, people, stop complaining about it. Listen to me. This is what it takes. I don't care how hard it sounds. It's the only way out. You want out? You do this. You are aware at all times what you're feeling, all times. And if you're feeling bad, you fix it immediately. That's the only way out. End of story. Sorry, wasn't my game. I didn't ask you here. It's the only way out. You got to figure out where you're feeling, and you got to fix it when it goes bad. Period. I don't care what the government's doing. I don't care what your job is doing. I don't care what your sons are doing. I don't care what your boss is doing. Doesn't matter. This is your responsibility to get out. What they say to you, what they do to you is irrelevant unless you make it relevant. Don't let it be relevant anymore. It doesn't matter. Their God's playing their own game. You're playing your game. Ignore them. Ignore them.
Good answer. So Naya, this question comes from me. As Gaia becomes more and more into 5D, in fact, in one video you pretty much said she's already there, and we're just we're slowly following. I sense in my life there's a lot more fake people, backdrop people. In fact, you have your own term that you can talk about, but is there more backdrop people now, or is it just me realizing or thinking that maybe because I'm becoming more fed up with the game, or I'm just getting older or more awake? And
No, there's more fake people. I call them NPCs, and that's a non-player character from video gaming. And so the young people will know what that means. And that's a person that's pre-programmed into the game that interacts with you, but really there's not a person running them. But it gives you, if you're alone, you've got other people around you that are fighting you, but they're computer generated. They're not run by a separate entity, a separate person. So that's why I call them NPCs. And yeah, there's a lot more NPCs. People are leaving in mass. So the game is collapsing. So all of the humans that were here when I was born, that were here to play the game, well, the game is collapsing. Well, if you knew the game was collapsing, what would you do? Everybody that wants to continue the game, they've left with their consciousness and gone on to planets that are continuing the game. So of course, they've left enough of themselves so that the world still looks like it's got 7 billion people on it, and there's still trash being picked up, and the electricity's still going. But yeah, the people that are running it are on a lot automatic pilot. And if you run across them, you don't feel like you can connect, that they're not really there, well, stop trying. They're probably an NPC or a fake person. It's not that they're not there and they're the same person they were. And if you really want to talk to them, because that's the magic of being gods, is if you really want to connect with them, you will pull more of their consciousness back into that body, and they will interact with you. So that's how this works. It's kind of like my meditative state. You as a conscious being, you guys don't understand how big you are. You think that everything that is you is in this little human body, and that's all there is, and that's simply not true. Most of you are running so many things you have no idea. There's parts of you that are creating other games. There's parts that are, a million lives as a human being you're running. There's so much that you do. This is just a little part of you. There's so much more. And your higher self is got it all straight. It's no big deal. It's kind of like being mother and going to have a job and driving a car. I mean, it's no big deal. We do it all the time. So how much energy you put into, say, driving a car versus going to work is you don't put much energy at all into driving a car because it doesn't, you know how to do that. And you spend more of your energy when you're at work because, well, you need to make the money. So it's kind of like that. But the difference is that it can come and go. People can pull this back. If you want to interact with somebody, that God is still there. He'll bring energy back if you really want to connect to them. They're not gone for good.
What
Not gone for
percentage?
good.
What percentage are the fake people now? Would it be 50-50 or?
Oh no, it's way higher than that.
Wow.
We got there's about 3%, actually a little bit less than 3% of Gaia is still in 4D. That's all that's left. So I was talking to somebody today, and he said, might have been Show Me the Way. Anyway, I don't know. And they were saying, no, it was Iron Sheep. I think it was Iron Sheep. And he was mentioning that a couple months ago that he was watching my videos and I was happy and joyous. And the last few videos I've been kind of cantankerous, kind of grumpy. And, he was worried about getting on a timeline that wasn't going to 5D. And were my videos a sign of that? So I wanted to tell everybody, look, guys, one of my jobs when I came back, this is the analogy. I flew over a big raging river that nobody can swim across. And I flew across it. And then I swam back with a rope. I've tied the rope off. And now I'm helping everybody that's in line cross the raging river hanging onto the rope. I will be the last person to 5D. Don't wait for me. I'll see you when I get there. Don't worry about it. So you guys do what I've told you to do. Grab the rope, cross the river. Don't worry about me. I won't be there until the last person is in line who wants my help has gone. Then I'll come back over. So relax, okay? Be on your way. Don't worry about it. For those that say, when Gaia is 0% in 4D, there will be creator gods on this planet who will be recreating the illusion of the earth being here. You will not be able to tell the difference between Gaia being gone and Gaia being here. We're dealing with gods here. And if a god wants to stay on a planet that looks like Gaia, if only one of you wants to, there will be a planet that looks like Gaia. It won't be Gaia, but it'll look like Gaia because that's what gods do. So you got less than 3% before Gaia's gone. So if you want to go to 5D, I suggest you get on it. Otherwise, you will be on the 4D version of what looks like Gaia, and you can play that out. Now, the good news is, for any starseed that for whatever reason doesn't hop the bus, doesn't matter. When you die, you leave. Big deal. No big deal. Just don't worry about it.
Okay.
Give it your best go. Try for 5D. If you don't make it, so what? You can't live forever here.
That's very true. One of your most recent videos, you talked about there's 5 toys that mankind becomes so obsessed about. And one of them was money. And when I watched that video, I really had to disagree with you. I had to disagree with Naya. Oh my God. Because I look at...
Please do. That would be such a relief for somebody to disagree with me.
I look at money as power. I mean, you take a bum, any loser by human standards, right? Like he could be inherited the money. Everybody will kiss his ass just because he has money. So what is, your take of money? Because you talked about the 5 things and why we think we need them, but you didn't really talk about each one specifically. And what is money power? Is money a toy? What's your take on money?
Absolutely, money equals power. Power equals I'm better than you. I'm better than you is 4-3D. Not interested. It's that simple. In a world where you just take what you need, and that's all, which is what the plants and animals do. You do not see them taking more than what they need. They don't go run around in the springtime and save enough for wintertime and get 10 times more than what they need so that it rots. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. They get what they need when they need it. They don't worry about it. And their life is pretty carefree. Once you start dealing with the power game, then there's always this. This is what happens. I want money. I get money. I've got power. People kiss my ass. People are going to try to take that from you because power equals money. They are going to try to take your money and your power so that you're down and they're up. And there's your contrast game. I don't give a shit about power. Couldn't care less about it. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I don't want to be told what to do. And I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want anybody kissing my ass. I want you to leave me the fuck alone. That's what I want from you. So leave me alone. Go play your money power games all you want. But is that true? Power is money? Yeah, absolutely. If you want to play that game, you need money. I don't. So there you go.
How does one break free of a money game?
You really start looking at your life and what you really need. I said need, not want, need. What do you need? You want to break free from their clutches? Well, then you got to look at what they brainwashed you into needing. How big a house does one person need? Really? You're going to sit at one place at any given time for how long? How much room do you need? You don't need what you have. I guarantee you, you don't. I live in a bus and I have more than enough room for me in a bus. I am perfectly fine here. So you start looking at what they've told you and what you really need. Now, there are most of the places in this country, when you go to buy land and build a house, there is a law that says it has to be at least 1,000 square feet. 1,000 square feet, even if it's one person? You've got to be kidding me. And you people have let those laws pass. Why? Let me tell you why. Because nobody wants the tiny house next door to bring down the quality and how much they sell their house for. It's all about money. It's not about what need is. So if you buy a house that's great big next to this other great big house, then eventually you can sell your big house for more money. So it comes down to money. It has nothing to do with logic. It has nothing to do with logic. So if you want to break free, look at your life, see what you really need, see what you really want. Do you really need 10 pairs of shoes? Of course you don't. You can only wear one pair at a time. So you need, practically speaking, to look at this. The minimalists are right. You look at the kids. Kids are minimalists all over the place. All over the place, they're like paring down. They are so non-buy into this. Now, I know that the ones on TV are, but if you look at the real ones out in the real world, it's a whole different thing. They don't buy into the politics. They don't buy into the jobs. They don't buy into the marriage and kids. They don't buy into the college. They don't buy into the big houses. You want to know how to do it? Watch your kids. Have you guys noticed how big the nomad community is getting? There's a meeting there, happens every year, started by this old dude, years ago. He's been a nomad forever and ever, I think. And he started this meeting of nomads because just for people to get together and have a community. And it has gone, I've been watching it now for I think 3 years. And it's gone from being, 1,000 people. Last year it was 10,000 people. Whenever they tried to keep it on the BLM land for this year, the BLM land wanted $260,000 up front to allow them to end up there because there are too many people. That's how big this is growing. And a lot of it is retired women, single women, and young people that are feeding this thing. Because when you get rid of your stuff rules you. It rules you. You have to fix it. You have to take care of it. You have to pay taxes on it. There's all this crap that goes with it. And what's the point? When you really start looking at the stuff in your life one at a time, look at something. If you haven't used it in the last year, throw it away. Give it away. If you haven't worn it in the last year, give it away. Get rid of it. Can you get to a smaller place to live? Are you scared to live in a one-bedroom studio because it's in the bad side of town? Why? Why are you scared of them? Go talk to them. Are you afraid you're going to get hooked on drugs if somebody goes shoot you in the street? Well, if they're going to shoot you in the street, you will be instantly outside the game. I would move there instantly. Also, city people, it's a lot cheaper out in the country and small towns. It's if you people in the city would sell what you've got, you could buy a piece of land, build you a small house, and live the rest of your lives without ever working again. That's how cheap it is. But it's not that hard to build a house. It's really not. So it depends upon what you want to do. If you're hooked on your life as it is, then you will be right where you are. If you want to break free, you got to break free of them. And that means everything they've taught you to do.
It really is a lot cheaper in the country. It's amazing. Once you leave the town,
Yeah.
it's incredible. So
it is amazing. And if you build your own house, watch YouTube. YouTube will tell you how to do everything. It is not rocket science, folks. There's a reason why people leave high school and go into construction, is because it is not difficult. It is basic concepts, and now you've got YouTube that'll teach you how to do everything. Go build your own house. You can buy a lot just about anywhere. There is so much empty land in this country. I have now driven all over this country a couple times. They say that there's overcrowding. No, there's overcrowding in these cities. There is not overcrowding in this country. There is more blank, vacant, for sale land. Oh my God, what is it? Probably 85% of this land in the United States has no one on it. Just the cities that are overcrowded. The country's fine. Now, I hate to say this because country folk kind of like that you people aren't here, but I'm saying there's plenty of room for everybody. Go check around. You'd be shocked and shaken to find out how you could buy 2 or 3 acres and how cheap it is, and how cheap and easy it is to build your own house. Grow your own vegetables. Raise your chickens yourself. I mean, grow your own food. It's not hard. People have been doing it since the cavemen. I think you can handle it if you want to. But if you still have to have the new car every year, you're screwed, because you need an old vehicle that you can go on YouTube and learn how to fix yourself. But if you're not hooked into all of those things, it is not hard to reduce your life down to something that makes you much more like the animals and the plants. It's not hard. You just have to want to do it.
yeah, you're so right. Places like Wyoming or Montana, they have miles and miles and miles of just nothingness, you know?
Oh, it's not only there. There's miles and miles and miles in New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Kentucky, Tennessee. Oh, some of the cheapest, most beautiful land ever is in Tennessee. You want cheap land that is beautiful? Oh my gosh, that state is just, I can't even believe it. Alabama, it's everywhere. There is land everywhere. There is no place. New York, Maine, there's land everywhere. There's land everywhere. It's just, if you're going to listen to people on TV, then you don't understand. If you want super cheap land and you like the desert, West Texas, you could buy 1,000 acres for like, I don't know, $1,000. It's nobody wants it out there. Of course, there's no water, and it is really hot half the year. But hey, it's cheap land if you like desert. But there's land everywhere. All you got to do is go find it. Look, Google it. It's everywhere. And most people in a city have a condo or a house they could sell for what, 100,000 to $1 million. Oh my God, that's more than enough to live in a small town for the rest of your life, very comfortably, very comfortably. But people don't. I don't know if they don't know, or I don't know if they just don't look, or if they're just so addicted to what they've got that they don't look the other way. I don't know if it's the same way in Australia, but I do know in the United States there's plenty. In Canada too. Plenty in Canada too.
Did you
So,
know
yeah.
that the Brady Bunch house, if you remember the show, they'd always have the house. That house in California just sold I think this past year for $3.5 million. It was
Now,
bought.
now start talking about California.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody lives in California, this is a Naya warning. I never do this, by the way. Get out. Get out now. Get out fast. You are in the wrong place. Just saying. Say, especially if they're still selling their houses for $3 million, sell your house, move east just a state or two, and you can live the rest of your life comfortably off that money. Get out.
What's going to happen?
Just a bad place to be right now.
Can't say more?
Really bad place to be right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it.
So,
I would just, especially San Francisco down. Now, San Francisco up,
so Mario.
Just be aware that there is a fault line there. You might want to stay on the east side of the fault line.
So Mario needs to go.
Mario just moved, and he is like, I think he's okay. He's outside of LA now instead of San Francisco, but I think he's on the east side of the fault line. Zen Mommy's up there too, and I think they're like 30 miles on the east side of the fault lines. She's okay. But I wouldn't be in that state at all myself. There's no way. I will never, ever go to California again. I'm done. I will not cross the border again. I'm done.
Any other states you need to worry about?
No. Florida's kind of iffy, but they're doing okay. But California, I won't cross that border. Nope. And I'm pretty sure I won't cross it till the day I die. I'm not going back over it. They have serious issues there, guys. Serious issues. But you got to understand, there were a bunch of geckos there, and Hollywood's dying, and you got a lot of desperate geckos in California, and geckos are powerful beings, and they're in deep panic and fear, and law of attraction works. And if you're living right next to them, well, what can I say?
So Naya, I watch.
And I sure as hell am not going near LA. No way. No. Yeah, that's an accident waiting to happen. That's going to get way worse before it gets better. But mostly California is just digging their own hole, and just logic tells you that. Okay, they've opened the southern border. They've made themselves sanctuary cities. They have tens of thousands of homeless people in LA alone, and now they passed the freelance law where you can't be a freelancer more than 15 or 20 times a year. So that's out. And so you can't get a job, and if you can't get a job, they're not going to give you a job, or you can't even work on your own. And now they're talking about people that they're going to test people, and if you can't hold your own, if you're not a producing citizen, they're going to put you in a camp. So they're going to let the people from the illegal people from Mexico that aren't Americans come up, and they're going to pay for their medical care and their school and their housing. And the real Americans that are down on their luck, they're going to put those in the camps. I'm just saying, it might not be a good place to visit for a while. Plus, all the people that are coming up through that corridor, they're bringing the most horrible diseases there are no cures for. In my opinion, I think we should just continue the wall up California's border. Just build it up there and keep them out, because it's bad. If you could see what I can see as far as illness goes, you guys would be scared shitless. You'd be scared shitless if you could see what I could see. And that's just going to go, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Nothing on that level that's that bad. There's not enough time for it to get better. So, yeah, it's not going to get better.
What about Texas?
It's just bad. But my favorite is they're going to put the American citizens in the camps, and they're going to let the illegals go free. I'm like, oh, well, this should work out well. They're already in the hole. They don't have enough money. So, as far as they know, illegal aliens don't pay taxes. So, I'm not sure how they're going to sustain this for very long. But whatever. You can't figure out what California's thinking.
But Naya, Texas has an open border as well. What about Texas?
You think?
They're coming up.
You think Texas has an open border, huh?
Well, I mean that you might get shot, but I mean
you don't know much about Texas, do you?
Aren't they coming up from Mexico and all that?
Oh yeah, they are always coming up. See, for years and years and years, because I was in Houston for 25 years, and we've listened to people on the radio, and there's a lot of Mexican people that live in Texas. A lot of legal Mexicans, and the legal Mexicans in Texas, they don't like the illegals either, because they did what they were supposed to do, and they don't like it when other people don't. But mostly the biggest problem with the illegal problem in the wall is the drugs and the human trafficking. That's the problem. It was never illegal, regular people coming across. That's never been the concern. The concern has always been drugs and human trafficking. And I can't even tell you, one of the reasons I quit listening to the news way before I died when I lived in Houston is I was sick and tired of watching the news where they found some truck in the desert that they opened up and there were 50 bodies in there, mostly women dead. Because these guys that get caught, they'll fill a truck full of mostly women, and they'll drive them across the border, and then somebody will scare them and they'll run off, and they'll just leave the truck, and nobody knows it's there. And so these people are locked in the truck and they die. And it happens all the time. And not even to count all of the drugs. The drugs are ridiculous. So that's the reason why the people on the southern border want the wall. It's not for regular people that come over. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody cares. They probably will forever make their way. It's to stop the human trafficking and the drugs. And that's coming from somebody who lives in Houston, very close to the border. Now, this whole time in Texas, there are Texas ranchers that own the land along the border. They have forever used their own money and their own time to try to keep these people back. And they're tired of finding bodies, because also drug mules come and they'll die in the desert. So they're always finding dead bodies on their ranch. This is not fun, guys. You guys don't have to worry about it up here. But down there, it's not fun to have a ranch and you're following your line, trying to make sure that your fence is done and you come across a body every year. This isn't fun. It's not fun at all. And why should they have to put up with that? Why should they have to pay an army to protect their property? You don't. You don't have to pay for that. You don't have to protect your borders and your house or your land. So why should everybody on the southern border have to foot the bill? And that's what the United States has been saying this whole time. Trump simply says no more. That shouldn't have to be that way. And we're very happy about that in Texas, because I'm really tired of the dead bodies.
God bless Texas. So Naya, I watch a lot of business news because I really have nothing else to do. And there's a lot of people saying that the stock market is in a bubble, corporate debt is in a bubble, and it's all going to collapse. Do you see a Mad Max scenario coming to America?
Oh, there are timelines where they're absolutely Mad Max. I won't be here, but yeah, there's Mad Max, there's alien incursions, there's a nuclear holocaust, there's all kinds of scenarios. Everything that you've seen a movie about, there's a timeline that covers it. Usually there's 100 or 1,000 options. They're all there. You want to be afraid of it, you can end up there. Easy peasy.
What timeline?
All options are available. All been created.
What timeline do you see yourself following out?
Oh, I'm not on any of those. None of those.
So
no.
The next few years of your life, or the rest of your life, however long you live down here, what's it going to be for Earth and you? Smooth sailing, or?
No, because I stay here as this gap widens, and I'm always reaching out to people, so I get caught in their drama trying to get them to come to one side or the other, one side or the other. And when I connect to somebody and they're bouncing, that drags me into their vortex. So I get caught in that. So it's very painful. And I keep doing that until I die or I get to 5D. Can't sure. Depends upon the timeline. I've got timelines where I make it to 5D. Sometimes I don't.
Let me know.
I've got both. But I don't go anywhere close to Mad Max or any of that stuff. No, I'm not alive for any of that.
If you
I'm not on any of those timelines. And I'm not going to be. I don't, because I can do this better than you guys can, and I don't want to be. I'm okay with nuclear bombs. I just want to be right where the bomb hits. Exactly where the bomb hits. I mean, right where it hits, that's where I want to be standing.
Yeah, it'd be a quick way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Naya, when you said there are timelines when you do not go to 5D, what happens to you then? Do you then go to another planet and live out a life?
No. I just leave the game, go right back to where I went when I died the first time.
Oh, okay.
I leave.
Gotcha. And then you're gonna play.
Most of the time when I don't make it to 5D, it's usually something pretty traumatic happens. So it's a sudden death. It's a sudden death, car wreck or something. I get caught up in helping somebody and it drags me too far down, and it's usually a sudden death, sudden heart attack, something. I'm dead real quick.
Are you cool with that?
I actually kind of lean towards those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5D ones, I tend to be older. I stay here longer because I'm helping more people. The ones where I die, I'm younger. So, yeah, I'm always looking at both of them going, damn. I'm more tempted to go towards the younger ones and die. But I'm trying to do my job as long as I can do it. So
you had a big scare just a few months ago where your blood pressure was through the roof and you were hospitalized. Tell us about that and give us an update.
Well, I was involved in a situation that I got caught up in what I wanted more than paying attention to what energy was going on. And so I didn't pay attention because I wanted it a different way. And sometimes I kept walking it through timelines that were the best of the best of the best of, but eventually it wasn't meant to be. But I got too close to the flame and it cost me big time. So it kicked me to the curb pretty good. And blood pressure went up, and I went, whoa, was it? That was really close because I really did it. I was close enough to a timeline where I could have died if I hadn't walked away from it, and that was very tempting. It was very difficult to walk away from that one, but I went damn and turned around and walked away from it, and I'm still here. Damn it.
And how you doing now?
Huh?
How you doing now?
I'm fine.
Good.
I'm fine.
Good.
Now I just came out of like a poison ivy bout, but just tired. But I'm better. I'm better. Back to my regular cantankerous self now.
Earlier this year, you went to the Grand Canyon in search of Bigfoot. And there's a lot of people been talking about Bigfoot this year. Kim is obsessed with Bigfoot. Kelly in the Raw, who has a very popular YouTube channel, she talks about Bigfoot. She was in Colorado. I think she's still there looking for Bigfoot. What's the deal with Bigfoot?
Well, Bigfoot are like pre-humans that stay like animals. So they stay in the now. They operate on the planet like any other animal that you think of. Only they're aware that humans are dangerous, like all animals are. So they stay very far away. The only time a human is going to see Bigfoot is if it's a young Bigfoot, because the youngsters are curious, like all youngsters are. So they'll get too close and not listen to what mom and dad told them. that's when humans will see them. Other than that, you don't stand a chance. They're a lot better at this than humans will ever be. Now the Bigfoot that I was talking to, because I've like talked to Bigfoot ever since I met Sandy, and we spent time together. She's very connected to Bigfoot, so I got like really, really connected to them, and they're all over the whole planet. They're like abominable snowmen or something up north. They're white, and they're everywhere. They're all over the whole planet. They've always been here. They were here from almost the beginning. Um, yeah, they've been here from the beginning. So cool beings, but they were with them. I was trying to reconnect the energy to 5D for them. So so I was connecting to them to magical creatures because they were ready to reconnect to 5D. So a lot of them have already gone to 5D. So it's going to become harder and harder and harder to find them. For people who think that they are dangerous or scary or have sharp teeth or any of that bullshit, you'll never see them ever, 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 because that's not what they're like. If you're sitting quietly, maybe you might be able to see them. I think you're gonna have a better chance meeting a fairy than you will ever at meeting a Bigfoot because they're so elusive. They've been on the planet a long time and they've lived amongst men for a long time. They are the best at keeping away from humans because they know how dangerous they are. Actually, interestingly enough, the original werewolf stories, those actually came from people seeing Bigfoot. There wasn't a wolf, it was Bigfoot. That was as they were fading away from humans. So they got treated very badly as humans dropped in vibration, just like all the magical creatures did. They got treated very badly. So they passed down to their people to stay far, far away from humans so they don't. There have been a couple cases where they got cut off, but we were able to help them with that. And it was a big deal with interestingly enough, when we went west, what I connected with was, I don't think I've told you this, but it was so cool. Which is so sad now because I'm glad I saw it because I won't ever see it again. Well, we were driving from Washington down to Oregon. I might see it again. But we were going down to like where Tillamook, where they make Tillamook cheese and stuff. We went to their factory. And as we were driving down out of the mountains and we were along that coastal area right there, all of a sudden I could see this area where the Tillamook used to be, is now, and it used to be like Garden of Eden. Like you cannot even imagine. I can't even explain. There's nothing that I've ever seen in my life that was as pretty as this, where I could see what it used to look like. And it was like everything you can imagine was growing there, and there was this huge society, and they looked like they looked like they were a cross between maybe Aztec and Inca-ish. And it continued, this whole thing continued along the coast all the way from where we were, and I could see it all the way down to the southern tip of South America. All along that whole coast, these people were living there. And remember I told you guys in that video that we're meant to live horizontal, not up and down? They were living horizontal, but there was a constant people the whole way. There were people, but they weren't on top of each other. There was plenty of room. Everybody knew each other, and it was beautiful. And they had so much color, and everything was bright, and everybody was happy. And this was clearly high 4D as they were dropping, as the planet was dropping. But it was so fascinating to see these people, and they were. There was a in Avatar, the things they flew around on, those dragony things in Avatar. Did you see Avatar?
No.
Okay. You guys out there that have seen Avatar, those things that they rode on, that they flew on, well, it's like, what's it called? Texacotl or something like that. It looked like those things in that movie. And they had those flying things there too that they would fly on, that I could see them. And it became eventually they became a myth. And those things they were trying to connect to, the Bigfoot were trying to connect to those flying things. So I went to Grand Canyon, which is where more of those people lived in the canyon walls. So I could find them really quickly and easily. So I went to Grand Canyon to talk to the Bigfoot, to connect them to those people, that connect them to the flyy things that would help them get to 5D faster. That's how come the Grand Canyon trip.
Wow, that's great.
And that is my world, and it looks pretty much like that most of the time. So, and then on occasion, I talk to you guys too.
More on your world. This question is about you and for you. So, in case those people who don't know, you are currently writing your book. And I've seen the cover of your book, and you've sent me the first chapter. I know it's a long process to write it all down on paper. In fact, you probably will have 4 or 5 books when it's all said and done. But once you get a book out, now you're a somebody. Now you're a celebrity. Now you're famous, and you're doing the circuits, and they ask you to come
now that
speak.
is not going to get me the book faster out there. Because I was kind of thinking, I'll do the books and be that author that's like off in the cabin in the mountains that you never see. I'm thinking that. That's what I'm thinking.
But surely there are timelines that you can look and see yourself, that the books are out, they're a hit.
Nope, I'm not allowed to see my timelines very far.
No shit.
I don't get to see very much about them. No specifics. Like I can see dead live. I can see 4D dead, 5D alive. I can see that, but no specifics. I don't know. It's a rule.
Man,
I'm not allowed.
That sucks.
It does suck.
Well, let me ask you this then. How do you think you'll deal with fame?
I'm not going to be famous. If I'm famous, it'll be far away from me. It won't be fame that touches me. I don't. You're going to have to catch me first. Good luck with that.
Okay, but wait, but Naya, in all seriousness.
I live in a bus. Try to find me.
You say that, though, but once you release this book, and people start reading it, and it starts becoming popular, then they see your YouTube channel, and it could potentially explode, and then your website, and then Stephanie is just overwhelmed with phone calls and emails and requests. I mean, your life could change dramatically.
No.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't want it to. The only reason I'm doing the books is because I've had so many people say, please write a book. And I am a really good student. I'm an A+ student. And I understand that different people learn with different ways. Some people need to write stuff down. Some people learn by listening. And some people learn by reading. So be out of respect for the people who need to read to learn what I have to say, that the videos with me talking too fast is too much. They need to be able to slow it down. That is the only reason I'm doing these books. The only reason. I am not doing it to reach more people. I'm not doing it to be famous. I'm doing it to give the people the information that they need so that they can figure it out better, because 600 videos isn't enough. People need to be able I talk too fast. So that's the reason why I'm doing the books. If they become popular, I'd be shocked, because I really don't say positive things about most anything in this game. But hey, who knows? If it does, more power to them. But that has nothing to do with me.
And how far along is the book? Are you halfway done?
Oh, heck no. Jeannie's my person that's writing it. She's really writing it with my information. So think Esther and Jerry Hicks. She's the Jerry to my Esther. I'm Esther. She's Jerry. So she's now gotten to a point where we need to communicate a lot more often. So we'll be starting that next week. And however she wants to lay it out, I don't really care. But I told her she's totally, I'm fine with questions and me answering it. So whatever it is, it gets the information down. I think the first chapter that we're hitting is going to be timelines, which the first book I'll touch on most of my subjects, and then we'll go back and we'll do each subject a full book, or a full book with because like timelines, good grief, timelines alone could be a full book. Hell, it could be a series because it's so difficult to explain. And there's a lot that I haven't. Another reason I'm doing the books is because the reason why I've slowed down on videos is because I'm repeating myself, and I don't like to repeat myself at all. So this way, in the books, I can go into deeper detail. So if somebody can go as far as they can go, and then they can go back, and then they can move forward when they can, instead of coming and reaching me every time. So you can use it as a study guide. So the books are going to be study guides more than they are to convert the world. I couldn't give a shit about the world. It's more to help people get the message. So there is many people in line to cross the river with the rope. But after that, after the books, I'm done. Whoever doesn't get it after that, I'm done. You guys can follow somebody else after that. But I will travel around, and I understand that Jeannie says that I need to go sign books at bookstores, which I can do when I travel. So I'll do that. But other than that, yeah, good luck finding me. You're going to have to find me if you think that I'm famous. Of course, my bus is rather unique. If you see it, you won't be able to miss it. I'll do a video on that tomorrow because it's done. Other than the clear coat that I need to put on it, it's done. So I'll show you guys the outside. So you'll know me if you see me. But there is no name on the outside of it. If you don't know the bus, you won't know who I am, and I have no intention of changing that. So I have no desire to be famous at all. I've never understood why people want that. I don't. I want to be left alone.
Left alone with your attack dog.
Left alone with my travels and my dogs and my daughter, and yeah, I don't like. It's weird. It's weird. I'm just a regular person. I don't need all that. 60 years old, famous me, just no. In the first place, famous, all those people coming at me. Can you imagine the energy that I would have to sort through? How painful that would be? No, no. I'm gonna be the elusive famous one if I become famous.
All right. Well, good luck with that. All right. So now I have just 2 questions left, unless you have some topics you want to cover in this video. I'll leave that to you. But this question comes from Kim Osborne. Good old Kim. So
Kim.
Her son Brandon recently was arrested once again. And her question for you is, and she said it, she knows it's all a game and we all come here to play a game, but that's still her son. She loves her son. And her question is, will he ever get his life together? And if
no.
not, okay, then what was his purpose of coming here then? Does he have a purpose?
He's a long-term human. He came to play the game. He is eyeball deep into the game, and he's doing exactly what he planned to do. I have told her over and over again, leave him alone. No judgment. He's just playing the game. That's all. Leave him alone.
So don't pay his bail?
Stay out of it. Huh?
Don't pay his bail?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just back out of it. Stay out of it. I told her that. And I know that it's hard. She's a mother. I get it. I had to cut off one of mine. I understand how hard it is. But as long as she is tied to him, that's why she is ill, is that tie to Brandon. He is so low playing the game, and she won't disconnect from it. As long as she's connected to him, she will feel the pain that goes with that.
All right, Kim.
But she has a right to do that too. She's a creator god.
All right, Kim, I hope you're listening. I know she is. She'll be watching. Okay, so my last question in this great interview, and thank you for giving us this time. I know you're very busy. I hear a lot of stuff on the news about how we only have really a short time to change the planet around, and people are becoming more conscious about the environment. They're going green. Is it that big of an emergency that they make it out to be?
If you believe that it's an emergency and it's a problem, you will create a reality. You will go to a timeline where it is a problem. If you don't, you won't. Gaia is a planet. A planet. She's a very strong, big planet. She's been around for a long time. If she wanted every human off this planet, she could do it with a blink of an eye. You would all be gone. If she wanted you gone, you'd be gone. It's not that big a deal to her. But you create what you want. Now, the version, if you create her falling apart and becoming a Mad Max, it will be an illusion of Gaia. Gaia won't be that. Gaia will never be that. But you are certainly welcome to be on a planet that looks like it's being destroyed. You have every right to experience that. Gaia is not going to do that.
Right.
Gaia is fine. Gaia is very powerful.
I think we forget about
She
that.
hasn't forgotten that she's a god. She is not in amnesia. Gaia is not in amnesia. She knows exactly who she is. The sun is not in amnesia. Almost all planets aren't in amnesia. Some of the universes are, interestingly enough, but the planets are not. Most of them are not in the game.
Interesting. You have a universe that's in amnesia?
Universe? Yeah, there are universes. There are universes that are mostly gecko universes that are in amnesia in order to play the gecko game because they go pretty dark. Mm-hmm. So there'll be planets within those universes that are not in amnesia, whereas the majority of the planets will be in amnesia, but some of them will not. It's kind of a balance thing. But most of the universes aren't either because they have consciousness too. But mostly it's the gecko ones that are in amnesia, and that's necessary in order for them to go low in the vibration. That's part of the kind of how things work. It's kind of necessary. If you want to go to low vibrations, you almost have to be in amnesia. But Gaia, nobody has done 3D before. So Gaia did it in full consciousness. That was extremely, unbelievably painful. That's the reason why she made the call. I don't think anybody saw that coming. So when she dropped down and it became extremely painful with the new, this is all new information. With the new planets that are out there that are going to 3D and lower, they are in partial amnesia because it's the lack of amnesia that makes you hurt. Trust me. That's why you guys keep saying, I want out of amnesia. What? No, you don't. And I've told you this over and over again. The less amnesia you have, the more painful it is to stay here. Like G-Man. G-Man has almost full on amnesia. Even though he always says something absolutely wise beyond belief, that is just instinct. As far as amnesia goes, he's got almost full amnesia, and he loves life here. That's the advantage to amnesia. The less amnesia you have, the more you remember home. The more you remember home, the more you hurt, the more painful it is. I remember every bit of it, and it is excruciating here. You don't want less amnesia until you're ready for it. Trust yourself, leave it be. What we learned from that is now when planets go into those lower dimensions, they go in with amnesia, then they don't hurt like Gaia did. Gaia was the only one that will hurt like that. She did it for everybody. And now nobody has to do that ever again because they know that when a consciousness on this big of energetic scale as a planet tries to drop in vibration, it needs to be in amnesia too.
That's a very good point. That you being out of amnesia, you know what the other side is, and you are more homesick. Whereas me, I don't know. In fact, there are times, when maybe I'm having a panic attack or something, and I feel like I'm going to die, and I'm like, oh, I get scared. but I talk to myself and I say like, well, on the other side is my home, although I don't know it, but that's my home, and I shouldn't be afraid to go there. But
Right.
you know what it's like. I mean, you gotta. I mean, that's got to be rough. I mean, you're homesick.
Yeah. It's like taking you away from everything you know and love, all your friends, all your family, your hometown, everything that you own, that you love, every pet, everything, dropping you in the middle of the sands of the Sahara Desert and say, okay, be happy. That's what it's like for me. Alone. That's what it's like for me. And so when you guys tell me to be happy, I just want to strangle you. I want to pull out a gun and shoot you in the head because there's no way that that's possible. I'm away from everyone that is my friend, everyone that I consider family are far away from here. Now, Stephanie, I love, and we have a relationship, and it's closer than anything else, but she's not my friend or family over there. I don't have a one of them here, not one. Nothing that I love to do is here. Nothing that is who I am is here or available here. Nothing. And I know that all it would take is a bullet to the brain and I could go home. I know that. But I also know that I came to do a job and I am very stubborn. And when I say I do something, I'm going to do it. So I will do it. I will be here until I'm done. And that's that. I don't like it. And I can see the game. I understand totally why people do this. I totally do. I really get it. I understand the contrast in the experience. I see what it looks like on the outside. I get all of that. But this isn't my home. Most long term humans, especially, you've had people that you are friends and family on this planet with you. You guys are very much up. You hang out. Your friends and family like this kind of thing. So you've been comfortable here. I don't have anybody.
Do you think that you and Stephanie would be friends on the other side? Do you think she would slip into your family?
We we are friends on the other side, but she's more physical. So I'm more like, okay, take out the religion aspect, be on a planet where physical beings understand energy a lot more, where we're friends and where we've got along is I'm the energy like an elemental, like a water elemental on a planet that she's from where she's physical, where she knows how to talk to the water elemental. That's how we know each other. And we've known each other in that game for a very long time. And we've interacted for a very long time. But that's not the same as hanging out with somebody, another water elemental who they're my friends and family. The water elemental, the wind elemental, those are my friends and family, and they're not here. One of the reasons I did the YouTube channel was to try to find them. I haven't found anybody. And I've done the scan of the planet. I can't find anybody on the planet. So now I'll just do my time, do what I came to do, and then I'll go home.
That's amazing. In the whole planet, there is nobody? You're all
None.
alone?
All alone.
Well, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now do you wonder why I get sad sometimes, why I get cranky? That's why.
Wow. Well, that's a lot of insight, Naya. What about Gaia? Isn't Gaia a close friend?
She's a very good friend and the closest, I would say, but she's kind of busy. And her vibration, her energy is so different than me in human form that it's hard. It's hard to communicate. It's hard. We can, but I try not to bother her too much.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of got her hands full. Her life is way worse than mine, and mine is bad enough. So I try not to complain because I know hers is way bad worse than mine. So that's kind of what I go back to. About the time I get ready, really, really down, I think, well, she's got it way worse than I do. So I guess I'll shut up and do my job. And that's why I stay, is because she is the closest to friends and family that I have here. And if she's got to be here, I'll be here with her until she leaves.
Like
whether we can talk a lot or not. Whether she's a planet and I'm a human or not, whatever.
That's very respectful of you. I appreciate that. But
it's what you do for friends and family, right?
Right. But didn't all star seeds come here to help Gaia? So in a sense, they're related to you, right?
No, star seeds are from all over outside the game. So they all came for their expertise, every single one of them. So unfortunately, one of the reasons why star seeds are so sad is because Gaia didn't need a whole mess of experts in any one area, because we are creator gods. So if you're an expert in your field and you came to work, you're probably the only one. So I'm not the only one that's on here that's all alone. The other star seeds frequently are alone too.
Ah.
They're from all over out there, and it is a big out there. So they're just separate experts. So they come and do their job and then they leave. Most of the time, they're miserable the whole time. Some of them cut out and they can't make it and they die. Some of them last until they old age, but most of them feel very, very alone, and that's the reason why they didn't come with friends. Very, very seldom do I run across like Tara. We were at a restaurant and we had a waiter come over, and that waiter came over, and it just so happened that they were very good friends on the other side. So I told her that they connected. She was upset. He was talking to her, and I told her they were very good friends on the other side. And I usually try to tell people when I see it, but usually not only are they from all over the place out there of all different kind of expertise, but they're spread all over this whole planet. That's how it works. We didn't come to do. People are under the impression that that humans came to do something big and bad on this planet, that I came for a reason, and what is that reason? Humans came to have experience. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter. You're doing it. Star seeds, most of what they came for was energy work, and it's being done, but it has nothing to do with their human life. So usually if their life isn't good enough for them, they think they're failing. They can't fail. It's built in, it's being done. There's nothing they can do to stop it. It's just I'm very aware of it. What they do in their human life is totally, who cares? They will be better for Gaia if they're happier, if all of us are happier, because that feels better to Gaia. But it's a struggle to be happier when you feel so alone. That's the reason why this whole Galactic Federation and the Pleiadian Society, that's why they draw star seeds in, is because the star seed goes, oh, maybe that's who I am, and I can jump on that. Well, they're not, because that's inside the game too. But if it makes them feel better, I think they should go for it.
Well, that's a great answer. That explains a lot. That explains a lot. So Naya, we're exactly at the 2-hour mark. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for the wonderful interview, for answering all of our questions. You're an amazing spirit. You're an amazing soul. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're very welcome. And huge hugs, everybody. Bye-bye. Love you, G-Man.
Love you too. Bye-bye.